was a steamy one this morning, or
Yeah, and everybody who came by to talk to me had to remind me, "It's really hot today."
it's a hot one.
I know that. And tomorrow's gonna be hotter. I know that.
Tomorrow will be hotter. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Reuben Frank, and Dave Zangaro. Day 4 of training camp in the books. The second week is where we start to get into the dog days of summer here.
Yeah, I don't think there's dog days. I don't even think there are dog days. I think dog days were a product of two-a-days, and they also used to not have days off. Like, you would go, like, 14 days in a row of practice of two-a-days. That was dog days. This is child's play.
Man, we are a minute into this, and you've hit me with a back in my day.
I have.
Yeah, that might be a record.
No.
It was also 115 degrees at Lehigh, and you had to walk uphill both ways to get to the field.
Lehigh was always cooler than Philly. It was always 10 degrees cooler up there.
Sometimes it didn't feel like it, though.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad up there. But anyway,
I think that's a lot of revisionist
you know what does
history.
bother me is so between the parking lot where fans park and the entrance to the NovaCare, there's a fence, and they would always put these images of Lehigh and Westchester up there, these giant posters. They're gone. Now they just have these generic, like, NovaCare photos. Like, they're just eliminating the whole Lehigh memory from our existence. Sad. That's sad to me. There was a great picture of Reggie and some kids, Reggie White.
Yeah.
You know who Reggie
I wonder
is.
if that was just like those specific banners were like old and they just wiped them out. I don't know.
I don't know, but I've been looking for Smolensky. I'm going to find him, and I'm going to bend his ear about it.
Poor Don Smolensky is going to be trying to get some Ritas and watch practice, and you're going to hound him about the
About
Lehigh
an Andre
images
Waters
being gone.
poster from 1991.
All right.
Anyway,
We have a lot to get to today.
we really do.
It was a busy day. They were in shorts and shells today. So the first time the players were in shoulder pads at practice this summer. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be the big day. That's a fully padded practice and the hottest day of camp so far. They coincide. So it's going to be, that's going to feel like an old school practice a little bit. Today did somewhat. I mean, there were some good, exciting periods of football. We'll get to all the observations, but let's start with some housekeeping. The injury report was a notable one today. Devontae Smith, a non-participant with back tightness.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned. It's July. He's had some back issues in the past. He made it through all the practice on Saturday. So obviously it started bothering him on Sunday or this morning. But, it was good to see some of the other receivers get some good work, and he'll be fine when he has to be. He plays so physically, and practices the same way that, he's one of those guys who's just going to be sore all the time during training camp.
Yeah, you're right. It's July. Don't panic about that, but we'll be monitoring it over the week or next few weeks and see how long it takes him to get back. Andrew Makuba and Danny Gray, they collided toward the end of practice. I think you mentioned Makuba got banged up a little bit on Saturday on that pod. He did not practice today with a shoulder injury. Danny Gray has a finger injury. Makuba was out there. He was a spectator, but he missed one day, and it seems like he's going to miss at least a few.
Yeah, and it's a setback. It's not a huge setback if he's back in a few days, but this is a rookie competing for a starting job, and it's not ideal. And the guy he's competing with is a solid player. He's a good player with experience. He's healthy now, so it's an opportunity for Sidney Brown to gap him a little bit. But Makuba, I think, had a good couple days to start out, so if he can get back, he can certainly still compete, but it's not ideal. He's trying to learn, and Nick talked about they'll do other things to make up for it. You have to. If you're not practicing, you have to find other ways to keep moving forward and learning. And so there'll be extra film and that kind of thing. He'll be out there for practice, but
the main thing I think was like the walkthrough reps.
Yeah,
because you can walk through with a shoulder injury, so
right.
It seems like that's where they're going to try to at least hope that he doesn't fall too far behind.
Yeah, he's a smart kid. But yeah, these are important days for him. He's got to get back soon.
Yeah, and you got to think about just last year, right? Cooper DeJean missed significant time in training camp, and even though he ended up having this great rookie season, he actually got voted as the 60th best player in the NFL in the NFL Network poll that came out today. But he didn't play early in the season because he missed training camp. So keep that in mind as we kind of monitor this injury for Makuba.
So you're saying Makuba's going to have a pick six in the Super Bowl in LA?
Not quite. The only other guy who did not practice today was Smile Mondin, an illness. He was out there, actually. I checked him off my attendance. So he was out there. I guess he just didn't actually participate in practice. The good injury news, Jalen Carter back on the field.
Yeah, first time we've seen him. Well, we've seen him. First time he's been out participating. I think he'll be okay. I don't think it's a huge setback for him. He's still the best interior lineman in the league, I believe. But it was good to see him out there.
Do you think he's the best right now?
I kind of do. I mean,
I wouldn't give it to him yet. I think he has a really good chance to be there when the season's over.
yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. But I mean, he's awfully close.
Yeah, I mean, it's the guys who you could maybe put ahead of him. Chris Jones is still, I mean, he probably has earned that. He's a little long in the tooth, but Dexter Lawrence certainly different type of player. But yeah, there are some good ones out there. But he's right with them.
Yeah.
So it was Jalen Carter, Jahad Campbell, Kenyon Green, Cam Jurgens, all limited. Those last three, they have been limited, so nothing new there.
I'm not sure why Jahad Campbell is listed as limited.
I've kind of thought that all of camp.
Yeah.
He's taken a ton of reps. He says he's going to be out there when they're fully padded. I don't really get it.
Yeah, me either. But so far, so good with him.
The only other injury thing from today, Patrick Johnson, toward the end of practice, he got a little banged up. Kind of like Makuba, like right at the end of practice, got checked out by a trainer. I saw him walking off the field. He looked okay, but we'll see what that shows on Tuesday.
Keep an eye on that.
Jason Garrett was at practice today.
He was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see who kind of shows up at a training camp practice.
It is. Yeah. And I wasn't aware that he had a relationship with Nick. I guess he does. Or maybe he just showed up. Maybe just
showed up at the door.
Just showed up.
Started clapping. Remember that was his big thing?
He was a big clapper.
Yeah. I also saw Nick's brothers there today on the sideline. They show up a lot at practice.
Yeah. Yeah, and his dad's usually down once or twice a year.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some depth chart
If you
stuff.
need some good triple jump talk, his dad was a triple jump coach.
Yeah, miss me on that. Never seen a triple jump I understood.
I think it was Nick's first year. He comes running over and he's like, Rube, my dad's here. You might want to talk track with him.
So that no one else has to talk track.
I took him up on that.
All right, let's get into the depth chart stuff. No Devontae Smith. So Anaya Smith, to me, it looked like got the bulk of the reps with the first team offense.
He made some catches. One-on-ones.
In one-on-ones. Yeah, not really in team drills, but I thought he looked good in one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's someone who I was really excited about as a rookie, and it just never – he had a rough training camp. He had a stress fracture in the spring, got the training camp, just didn't look good, came on at the very end, and then he was on IR, and it just never really – he never caught up last year. So he's healthy now, and I thought it was at least a nice showing from him in those one-on-ones against Cooper DeJean.
Yeah. No, I thought he looked good. And I think it was at the last day of the season, the Giants game. He caught a few balls in that game and looked pretty good doing it. And it doesn't mean anything. It was a meaningless game, but I'm sure it wasn't meaningless to him, something to build on at the end of the year.
Yeah. Tyler Steen's still the right guard. Day 4. Every day we'll do this. We'll say he's still the right guard until he's not. One interesting thing behind him, second team offensive line, every day for the first 3 days had been Matt Pryor at right guard, and he still played some right guard with that unit, but him and Darian Kennard kept flipping back and forth between right guard and right tackle. So Kennard now in the mix, I guess.
Yeah, that was interesting to see.
It's funny because there are like two kinds of competitions. There's a competition that's out in the open, and it's like they're splitting reps. It's day on, day off, or it's day on, or off. And there are some competitions that are under the surface a little bit. And I feel like this is one that's under the surface.
Yeah. And I felt like they've wanted to improve O-line depth, interior O-line depth. And so we'll see how that goes. Darian Kennard looking for that elusive 4th Super Bowl ring. 3-time Super Bowl.
It's pretty impressive.
Winner. Yeah.
Adoree Jackson got the first team reps again. 3rd day in a row, he's the first guy out there.
So can we share our conversation walking back from practice?
Yeah, it's time to talk about this. It looks like Adoree Jackson is ahead of Keely Ringo.
So we're Dave and I are walking back. That's what I was getting at. We're walking back from practice up to the media house, and I said, I think Dory Jackson's ahead of Keely. And you said I was just about to say the exact same thing.
Mhm.
Today was the first day, and been getting more reps with the ones, but I thought today was the first day. I thought, look, it's too early to say he's going to win the job, but it was the first day I thought he's significantly ahead, and I think he's played well, and I think Keely has been up and down, inconsistent, and yeah, if they had to play a game today, Dory Jackson's your starter.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's funny because when they signed Adoree Jackson, 29-year-old corner who wasn't getting playing time on a team that needed corners last year,
Yeah.
maybe it's a part of the scheme. Like maybe what he's being asked to do in Vic's scheme, he's able to do better. But I mean, Howie was pretty bullish when they signed Adoree Jackson, saying his best football's ahead of him, and we all rolled our eyes when he said that. But yeah, so far so good for Adoree. While Keely, he hasn't performed poorly, but he's given up some plays.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say he's performed poorly, but I would say there's been some plays that I felt like he could have made.
Yeah.
Um, Dory Jackson, I mean, he carries himself. He's a guy who started what 80 games in his career, I think. I'm just going to look that up. 82 games he started. He carries himself with a certain confidence. And I think sometimes, like if you're on a bad team and all of a sudden you're surrounded by Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship and this kind of talent, um, not to mention Zach Bond and the guys in front of you, I think it's possible to really just transform your career. All of a sudden, you're on a good team with good players and good coaches. I'm not sure you had that very much with the Giants, but he's been impressive.
Another note on the cornerback position, Quinyon Mitchell, and we should mention it, like Keely did get some first team reps, especially when they went to the goal line, or not goal line, but red zone. And I found that interesting. A bigger corner out there in the red zone. I don't think it'll be a commit by committee thing. I think that's tough to do, but they put Keely in a spot where he had a chance to excel probably more than Adoree.
Yeah, he's longer, he's taller and longer than Adoree Jackson, so that would make sense. Give him an opportunity to use that length.
And bigger.
Yeah,
Adoree's slight,
yeah,
Keely's 200 plus
he
pounds.
is.
But Quinyon Mitchell got some reps on the right side of the formation today, and that's notable because he's mostly been on the left. But Vic Fangio admitted that the reason they're playing him on the left is because he played on the right last year, and they want him ready on either side in case they travel him this year. So uh, him now playing both sides in practice shows that they're at least getting ready for that possibility.
He's so good, Dave.
Unreal. You want to just jump into talking about Q?
Let's talk about him.
To me, he's been the number one standout through 4 days.
Yeah, and he's a guy who could have made all pro last year. He just didn't have the interceptions. But I mean, as far as coverage and stickiness and discipline and playing tight coverage without committing penalties, he was as good as anybody last year, as any corner in the league. He just didn't have the takeaways. He dropped about four of them. Then he got a couple in the postseason, obviously, but
CJ stole a couple too.
he did. Um, but you say to yourself, how can he get better? I mean, he's already at a Pro Bowl level, but he has. I mean, he could be the best cornerback in football, and I don't want to get carried away or anything. And there's some really good ones,
Some really good ones.
but man, I don't. What can he do? And
He's been excellent.
and just to see how much better he is. And again, pads haven't gone on the usual caveats, but it's been eye opening. Um, I mean, watching him work against AJ is like I would pay to see that.
And
So
it's really the only matchup AJ gets that seems fair.
yeah,
Like it, AJ against anyone else is like, what are we even doing out here? He's going to beat him. Him and Quinyon Mitchell have good battles.
they do.
And today, Q got the first interception of training camp, and it wasn't like the best interception of all time. It was kind of like an under duress play. Jalen threw it up. It was underthrown, but he sat on it, he read it, and he picked it off, which you got to finish some plays too. And he missed some last year.
Yeah, that's true. That was good to see.
Uh, Back to the depth chart stuff. Cooper DeJean still the safety in the base package. Curious to see if he eventually gets outside reps in the base package. It's something they did in the spring, and they haven't done it yet in training camp, but I would assume at some point they will.
I think we'll see it. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah. Zach Bond and Jeremiah Trotter began the day as the inside linebackers. Eventually, Jahad Campbell mixed in. And it seemed like they gave Zach Bond a little bit like a vet day. He didn't have a ton of reps late, and he looked healthy. He looked fine. But it was a lot of Jeremiah Trotter next to Jahad Campbell.
Which is cool to see.
Mhm.
I mean, they're two young kids out there taking reps for a Super Bowl defense. It was fun seeing them.
Mac McWilliams was the extra defensive back in the dime package that had been Makuba, but McWilliams got out there. And he's someone who he's flown under the radar a little bit, but I think he's putting together a sneaky good camp so far as a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Certainly haven't seen him mess up. He seems to be in the right place. Yeah.
He had a really nice play against Johnny Wilson in the end zone today, which is, a 5'10" corner going against a 6'6" receiver in the end zone. Yeah, they threw a fade to him. It makes sense, but McWilliams was right with them.
Yeah.
And it was able to get the ball on the ground.
Oh, that was a really good rep for him.
Mhm.
And Johnny Wilson's gotten taller. He's like 6'11" now.
I don't think that's true.
He's 3 inches. They've been working on his height.
I'm gonna have to get that training regimen. I don't have a ton else in the depth chart stuff. Oh, Moro Ojima played some snaps outside today as an edge rusher.
What do you think of that?
It's something we've seen before from defensive tackles. We've seen it from Jalen Carter at times. Before that, we saw Fletcher Cox outside. It's not as big a stretch for Mo because he's a little undersized anyway, but they like the idea of throwing like a curveball at an offensive tackle, just giving them a different body type every once in a while.
Yeah, I like it, and I think he can. He's not going to get a ton of reps there, but I like throwing him out there.
We can just kind of bounce through some of the other observations quickly. Sidney Brown almost had an interception. This was in 11 on 11s. He just jumped a route, and I thought he was going to pick it off, and he didn't, but it was a nice play, nice recognition. I thought in general today, the coverage was good. There were a lot of plays, and this is more anecdotal. I have to really go through it, but there were a lot of plays where the quarterback was in the pocket, went through their progressions, and had to just evacuate the pocket because nothing was open.
I would agree with that, and it was also some pretty good pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of works together, but yeah, I was impressed with the coverage.
Yeah, Ujima again. He is if Quinyon Mitchell is like standout number one, Ujima is probably number 2 or number 3.
It's fair.
Mostly non-padded so far, so that obviously the caveat there, but he's been impressive.
Yeah, another guy that Howie found in the late rounds who's going to be a player on this team.
7th-round pick who right now, yeah, I mean, he might be their is it crazy to say he's their second best defensive tackle this year?
It's possible. I I would I would still bet on Jordan Davis to be that, but
Okay.
it's possible.
Different, obviously very different
Very
players.
different players.
Yeah.
Um,
Certainly a better pass rusher right now than Jordan Davis.
yeah, and I'm really curious to see how Jordan Davis's new physique helps him in that area, or
Do you
if
think it
does.
will?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think it's definitely going to help him
Play more snaps.
play more snaps and be available. I don't know if just losing weight is necessarily going to help you become a better pass rusher.
Yeah, I don't either. It's not going to hurt. I mean, he says he feels quicker. Um, he did lose some weight at the end of last year and had a couple hurries in the playoffs. I think 3. I think he only had 1 in the regular season, three hurries and a sack or sack and a half in the playoffs. So maybe
2 sacks, I think.
could have been. I thought it was 1.5, but I've been wrong before.
It was 2. It was 1 in the championship game and 1 in the Super Bowl.
You're right. Yeah. I'm curious to see, because if it does, then you found something there.
Yeah.
Because when you pick a guy 13th, you just need him to be more than a run stuffer. And we'll see if he is.
I thought Trot made some plays today. He had a pass breakup in the middle of the field, and then a nice run stuff against Will Shipley, and this is the second time in 4 practices.
His college
He's
teammate.
yeah, he's met Will Shipley in the hole, and he's giving him a little thud.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Undersized linebacker, but the instincts get him to where he needs to be on time, and that's really important.
Yeah. Um, I think he's gonna be a really good special teamer. Um,
He already is.
he already is, but the traits that you see at practice, like, I just don't know how much linebacker he's gonna play. If you know, but I think he's gonna help this team on teams.
Wanna get in some one-on-ones?
And I think if he's a guy that
Okay.
if you find a role for him as a linebacker, like a limited role, I think he could handle that, but I don't see I think the more snaps you give him.
I don't know if there is a limited role
Yeah,
like
I don't
that.
either, but I mean, like, if he's gotta play series,
Okay.
if somebody gets hurt or something, yeah, I think he'd be fine. I think he's one of those guys who, because of his size and his stature, like, if you try to get through a half with him, you
I
know,
don't know if that's true. I
I
mean, he's about the same size as Nakobe.
maybe yeah, Nakobe strikes me as stouter. Um, yeah, I don't know.
See what they're listed.
Sometimes it's not just about the height and the weight, but just I mean, Nakobe's a really solid guy.
Yeah, Nakobe's 5'11", 231. Trot is 6 foot, 225.
Yeah, well, those 6 pounds are
They
huge.
also have Zach Bond listed at 225.
Yeah, so,
So yeah,
but I mean, I like Trotter, considering where they drafted him. I think he's gonna be around for a while.
want to do some one-on-ones?
Yeah,
Exciting. These were the first one-on-ones of training camp. So the first period of one-on-ones, I actually ran over to the offensive defensive lines, but I realized those were 2-on-2s. So I actually skipped those because sometimes the 2-on-2s are like you can notice stuff, but sometimes they're running games and it's tougher to like really parse out who won, who lost.
yeah,
So I went back and watched the receivers versus DBs. AJ Brown had 2 back shoulder balls against Quinyon Mitchell. Just him and Jalen just have such a good feel together on those back shoulders, and that's fun to watch. You mentioned Anais Smith. He shook Cooper DeJean twice, and these one-on-ones are heavily slanted toward for the offense. Like if the defense wins, it's a surprise a lot of the
yeah,
time, but they were really good routes.
yeah. I think he's opened some eyes.
The one thing I did notice, I was mostly watching the receivers and DBs. Jahad Campbell on the other field against the running backs and tight ends struggled a little bit in coverage.
Yeah, I wasn't over there. Um, it's a tough ask for him, but it's good work.
I think it's going to help him because you watch him in college and he was really good in coverage. And with his length and his speed, he should be good at coverage in the NFL. He's not going to have to be like one on one for,
Right.
these are drills that aren't necessarily, they don't necessarily carry over perfectly into real football when you're in zone coverage a lot and you got to like man an area of the field. But I think it's good work because sometimes in zone you have to be in one on one at some point. So I think it's good work for him.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly not cause for concern. I mean, it's
No, but it's a good place. It's like it's a low bar right now, so he can get better at it.
yeah, and like you said, these are reps that are really geared toward the offense. So
Mhm.
it's good to challenge them that way.
Ben Van Sumeren looked pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty smooth route runner, catches the ball well. I was upset. He lined up,
crushed, I think is the word you used.
crush. He lined up against Zach Bond at the end. I think like Bond wanted it and Van Sumeren wanted it. They used to be in the linebacker room together, and then the whistle blew and they ran out of time to run the rep.
Dave was devastated.
I forget who I was standing next to. I think it might have been Andrew DeCecco, and we were like, "No!" We're very upset. O line, D line. So I missed 7-on-7s. Were you watching 7-on-7s?
No.
Okay. Um, so I don't have any notes from 7-on-7s today because I went to the O line, D line drills.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Moro Ojima again against Landon Dickerson this time. Most of his work in team drills has been Tyler Steen. This was against Landon. He beat him with a swim move on the first one. The second one was closer, but it was a really good bull rush.
Yeah, I saw the first one. Um, he looks really good in those drills. And yeah. He's going against some pretty good people,
Ty Robinson went against Lakin Vakalehi.
which, yeah, there's like no contest.
He killed him. Uh, I need to see. I want to see him against someone else.
Yeah, that was my thinking too. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, that's a guy who he's a international exchange. What's the
international pathway player.
thank you? Yeah, that's no competition for a guy like Ty Robinson.
And right now, Vakalahi's playing guard, whereas like he initially was a tackle, so he's even learning a new position at a new sport. So you know, I I'm excited about Robinson though. His handwork is impressive.
Yeah,
Like he already had, and he should. He was he was at college a long time. He's an older rookie, but he knows how to use his hands.
I think he's gonna have a role. I do. I think Vic's gonna find a way to use him.
And then you know what? Thomas Booker had some good reps against Steen and then against Holland Pierce, which kind of wasn't fair, but
Trenton Central.
yeah, well, Holland Pierce is another guy learning how to play
Yeah.
guard, and it's. I was actually joking with someone like Thomas Booker is the typical like veteran try hard in practice and just like makes your life hell. He's kind of like Steven Means.
Okay.
Remember that? Like Steven Means, just like the offensive tackles. Just I see Means like, oh my god, I got to deal with this guy in practice, and I feel like Thomas Booker is starting to take that role a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's true. He's a guy who's been around. He's got a chance to make the team. He played a lot last year. He played couple what 300 snaps almost.
Mhm.
Um, I know you probably know the exact number. I know you're about to tell
No,
us.
I don't.
Was it 288?
Booker, I thought he gave them some really good snaps early in the year, and then they didn't use them much later. 166 last year.
Where did I get 288 from?
288 is what was that, Morrow?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a guy. He knows all the tricks. He was a draft pick a few years ago in Houston. He's played in the league. Smart guy, very smart guy. So I could see him making O lineman's life a little tough in one on ones,
The other big highlight was Jordan Mailata shutting down Jalex Hunt on back-to-back reps.
which is interesting because Jordan Milano has been raving about him.
Yeah, maybe he's getting his confidence build up a little bit and then crushing him.
Yeah, maybe it's like, well, if I talk him up, it'll look like I'm doing better.
I like that. That's a good idea. No, but I
He
mean,
doesn't need to
Jalex
do
has
that.
looked very good in practice.
Yeah,
Tanner McKee threw some darts today. Really strong arm. But I did want to talk about Dorian Thompson Robinson.
we're not going to talk about the Darius Cooper catch.
Oh, we can if you want.
No, it was that was Tanner, right? That was one
Mhm.
of Tanner's.
Yeah.
Left sideline.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was my catch of the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, it was a good catch.
yeah.
But he threw a rocket ship to Johnny Wilson in the middle of the field.
A rocket ship.
Yeah,
He threw the whole rocket ship out.
yeah.
Okay.
And then he threw a, but the Cooper was impressive because it was like across his body. He was rolling left, and that's a tough throw for a 6'6" righty quarterback to make.
Yeah, yeah. His arm's impressive.
Mhm.
He can fire it in there.
I do want to talk about Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Okay.
We might have spoke a little too soon about giving Kyle McCord that job.
Yeah, he's had a couple good days.
Couple good days. He's getting those the first crack at those third team reps earlier than McCord a lot of the times.
Yeah.
He's a veteran, and I think that experience is showing itself right now.
Yeah, and I think you put it right. But we kind of wrote him off after the first couple days, and
Mhm.
I've honestly his track record in Cleveland. I mean, he did not play well, but yeah, I think he's thrown the ball better the last couple days and made some plays, and you can see his confidence growing.
Yeah. Anything else that I missed today?
No,
There are some odds and ends we don't have to get to. You can read my practice observations if you want a little bit more of it. But did you like my stupid observation of the day?
yeah, it was good. Do you want to share it?
Joe Douglas.
It was not what I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe Douglas has been working almost exclusively with the offensive line in practice. Joe Douglas, of course, the former Jets general manager, was in the personnel department here, and his title with the Eagles is senior personnel director / advisor to the general manager. But he's really like putting in work during practice with the offensive linemen. Like I've seen him running like grabbing pads and bringing he's helping,
Yeah.
and he's been like the quarterback in offensive line drills.
Yeah, and that's his background. It's interesting to say.
Offensive line, not quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
joking. All right, those were
But it
my
is
my
it is
practice
odd to
notes.
see a former GM, doing that stuff.
It's cool, but he seems like he's really enjoying it.
Probably just enjoying not being in Florham Park.
I think so. Anything else from practice today you want to hit?
No,
All right, let's take a little break. On the other side, we'll get into what we heard before and after practice.
you deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Eagles fans, be a part of the Birds takeover in Kansas City with NBC Sports Philadelphia and Philly Sports Trips. Includes optional airfare, hotel, and an exclusive pep rally, all-inclusive tailgate, ticket to the game, and more. Book your ultimate Eagles fan experience today. All right, Rube, we talked to Nick Sirianni before practice, so let's start there. Anything from Nick that caught your ear?
No, I don't think he understood my question. Um,
What was your question?
I, I'm really curious about how Jalen's improved as a practice player. And I asked him, actually, when he was walking up to the podium, I said, "Take my question first," because I wanted to, I wanted to not have to scream over 20 people. And he did. He looked right at me, took my question. But I think he thought I asked about how Jalen's improved in general. I don't think he heard the practice part. But I'm really interested in how Jalen's become a better practice player.
I
Um,
mean, some of it might just be that he's become a better player.
Possibly, but I think it's significant, and I think you can't have the one without the other.
Yeah.
Um, but it'll be an interesting question for Jalen one of these days. But I don't think there was a lot from the coach today that moved the needle for me.
Can I tell you something that I actually loved? And it was a question I had on my list for him. The new drill that we talked about.
Yes,
And
yeah,
we had kind of wondered on this pod, like, where'd they get that drill from? And he shared with us the origin story of that drill. And it said it's a contested catch drill that him and Devontae Smith were like talking about contested catches and how they can get better. And this is something Devontae ran or was a part of at Alabama that Nick Saban used to run. So they stole it and they're using it now. And it's kind of become like a double drill for them. It works contested catches on the front end, but then the second DB peels off, hits the cone mark, and then comes back as a form tackler. So it works contested catches both for the receiver and I guess the DB, and then it works a tackling circuit.
yeah. That was interesting to hear the derivation of that. And he said some of the guys had film of it. There's certainly a few Alabama guys here, and they stole it, which happens all the time.
Yeah. But it's another example of Nick's humility. And
Sure.
it's become a really big theme of his coaching tenure is like he's not too proud to listen to one of his players who has a drill idea.
As Rich Kotite used to say, "There's no pride of authorship here."
I like that. It's a really good thing. It's like the idea doesn't care who came up with it, right?
That's true. The idea does not care.
All right, yeah, there wasn't a ton else from Nick. How about after practice? We talked to a bunch of players.
Talked to Jahan Dotson for a little while, just about this point last year, he was still in Washington, and he
August 22nd was the
August.
trade.
So yeah, he was still in Washington for another few weeks, and he just talked about how far ahead he is of last year, obviously. And he said, I asked him about how he was so positive last year. He would go a month without a target, and he had such a great attitude. And he said, and it seemed effortless on the outside to us. We talked about this, but he said it was hard. He said younger me would not have been that patient.
This was the most we talked about this with him a little bit at times last year. Now that it's in the rear view, he was a lot more open about
Yeah.
this.
Oh, were you there for him? I didn't.
I heard a little bit of it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I heard your question to him.
Yeah. Uh, it was impressive last year, but he was really honest. He said, younger me wouldn't have handled it that well, but he said, "Look, you have Devontae, you have AJ, you have Saquon, you have Dallas Goddard. Like, what are you gonna like demand the ball?" He said, "It's I've learned that it's a team sport, and you can't put yourself ahead of the team." And he did that, and I think he looks good. I think he's Probably, I don't think he really looked comfortable here till probably December. I mean, and he said, and then he goes and has that Super Bowl with a 2 for 42 and almost gets in the end zone. Does get in the end zone initially, has a touchdown taken away from him. But um, if he can be that player, the player that we saw the last, and I think even in that Giants game, I think he had like 7 catches and looked good. Obviously, the game didn't mean anything. I almost said the game didn't count. It did count. Um, I think he can be, a Jason Avant type guy. Line up in the slot, catch 35 balls this year for 400 yards. I don't see any reason he can't be that guy.
Yeah, the focus was what impressed me most with him last year. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of focus to be ready when you're not seeing the volume,
Yeah.
and he always was. So, and I don't think it's like all of a sudden they're not going to start running the offense through him this year. But on a day like today, especially, he gets the ball and there's no Devontae Smith. That's like that's the most important part about the third receiver to me. It's not necessarily the target share when everyone's healthy, but it's like when an injury does pop up, which is almost inevitable for at least for a game, a season, right? He's going to have to be able to shoulder the load, and that's what you really need to see from him.
Yeah. And this guy was, I mean, he was a high first round or middle of first round pick just a couple of years ago. So, I mean, there's something there. And I mean, I don't know if he'll ever be the player that Washington thought he'd be when they drafted him out of Penn State. But he also said that he spent time in Houston with Jalen, which I thought was really interesting. He had a teammate from college, was his name Parker Washington?
Mhm.
It was with the Jaguars, I believe, um, who lives down there, and he went to work out there, and he called Jalen and said, "Hey, I'm down here," and they ended up throwing together, which is really cool. And so they're in a great place. He and Jalen, he in the offense, and we'll see what it turns into. He's not going to He's not gonna catch 70 balls, but, if he can catch it when it comes to him, and he did that for the most part last year, very few targets, but he caught most of them. He can help this team.
Good advice for a young receiver. In the offseason, call your quarterback. Tell him to throw you the football.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't hurt.
Talk to Moro Ujima today. Eh, just a really smart young guy, 3rd year. He was actually my first, well, not my first, but one of my more recent surviving camp guys. So like even as a rookie, he was super smart, um, very contemplative. Um, and today he talked a little bit about like waiting his turn, and he said like I saw it happen with guys before me. Like they had to just kind of wait, and then they move up and move up and move up. So he's like I was kind of preparing myself for this moment, and now that Milton Williams is gone, he's ready to step into a bigger role, and he absolutely is going to play more snaps this year.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Um, yeah, he is a thoughtful guy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I caught parts of that. We talked to Josh Uche over on the other side.
Yeah, I snuck out for some of that too. Uche and I talked to Aziz Ojolari as well.
Yeah. Uche kind of was asked about the whole Zach Bond. Like he
Mhm.
ran into Zach Bond. They came out together in the same draft, so they kind of knew each other from that. But it was Zach Bond who planted the idea in his head of coming here. They ran into each other at an NFLPA event during the offseason, and he just told him, he said, Zach told me what a great place it is to play and the culture and management. And he said, it's just, if you have a chance to come here, do it. And kind of the 1 year, if you sign a 1 year deal and do well, I mean, I don't expect him to get the deal that Zach Bond got and make all pro, but it's an opportunity. And so, sign a 1 year deal if you can there and see what happens and bet on yourself. So um, he's an interesting guy. It's like him and Aziz are like opposites. Like Aziz gets his 4 or 5 sacks every year and misses time every year. Josh Uche had 11 and a half sacks 1 year and has never done anything any other year. So would you rather have the guy who, gets 4, 5, or 6 every year, but has never had that 11 double digit sack season, or the guy who had one of those seasons, but the other seasons he hasn't done much of anything? So I don't know the answer to that. And until the pads go on and we see some one-on-ones, we kind of get an idea of where these guys are. But um, they both have a chance to make the team. It's possible both will.
I think it's very possible
Yeah.
both will. And it's made for an interesting dynamic in that room because the two starters and the two incumbent players are younger than the two veterans they brought in, but it doesn't seem like that's been an issue. It seems like they're all just like those two veterans are really happy to share their knowledge with
Yeah.
Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith.
Yeah, and that's we talked yesterday. I talked to Keely and Sydney and Dory Jackson, and every one of them said the same thing. Even though we're competing, we're all helping each other. We're all answering questions, asking questions together, learning together. Um, I don't think that's super common with teams where guys compete with each other and also help each other. I think it's really healthy situation.
You know what's funny? Aziz and Aziz Ojolari and Josh Uche know each other.
Yeah.
Um, they they didn't like plan to come here together, but they do have a relationship, and they said they're both like of Nigerian descent, so they called each other their Nigerian brothers. And then I just realized Moro Ujima today is also Nigerian. I asked him about he went back to Nigeria this offseason. It was really cool. He met the president
Well,
of Nigeria. Um, didn't really get it. I wanted to talk to him more about that, but he was in football mode today. But that's interesting.
wow. Maybe he can sign Indy Kalu. Have an entirely Nigerian D line.
That's fun. Tyler Steen, were you there for that?
A little bit,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything I wasn't there for.
You
And
know,
we've talked about this before, but there are a bunch of interviews going on at once, so we can't be everywhere.
yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit of each guy. Um, I was really taken by just his confidence, just speaking. Like it's something he didn't have last
It's
year,
true.
and that really came across. Yeah, I asked him about last year. I said he was right about now that you know you got dinged up and never really got back in there. He played a little bit when Becton got hurt, but he said you try not to worry about things you can't control, but you don't want to lose your opportunity because of an injury. But he said that was the reality, and I had to deal with that. And I mean, in a way, it seems unfair, but they won a Super Bowl with Mekhi Becton starting at right guard. Um, but he thinks he's a better player than last year. He thinks he's smarter. He believes he's stronger. I don't know. We'll see. Um, but I just like the way he came across. We'll see what that means. But yeah,
Yeah.
confident kid.
All right. That's all I have, I think.
I'm trying to think if I thought somebody else.
Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, I wasn't there for any of that.
I was there. I mean,
Jamal Singleton spoke.
oh, the running back coach. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was I got a little bit of that. He was talking about all the ways Saquon can improve, which was interesting. You don't really think of a guy one of the greatest seasons ever, but it's important to, even if it's very small increments,
Mhm.
he said there's definitely things that we're working on that he can get better at. So I thought that was interesting.
It's true.
And Saquon loves him.
Yeah. Really, really close relationship between those two.
Yeah.
Cam, you know, talked about just coming back from the back and how painful it was in the championship game. He's just slowly working his way back still, but
Yeah.
expects to be fine.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I do appreciate, by the way, that Cam Jurgens on the hot days goes belly out, wears like a crop top jersey. That's right out of the Kelsey playbook.
It is.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. He learned a lot from him.
All right. Let's take a little break, and then on the other side, answer a few questions and wrap this thing up. Mark your calendars. We're headed down the shore for a Phillies watch party. Join us in Sea Isle on August 12th to watch the Phillies face the Reds with raffles, special guests, and more. All right, Rube, let's get into some of these questions here. If you have one for us, you know what the email address is. It's eagleeye at NBC Uni. That's NBCUNI.com. First one from Nicholas. Hey, guys, as training camp starts, I'm getting a little worried about the secondary. Based on what you guys have said, Drew Makuba is probably the favorite to win the starting safety job alongside Reed Blankenship, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. Uh, and then on the outside, it'll be either Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson. Is it bad that I am somewhat rooting for the veteran Adoree Jackson to win the position so the secondary isn't all under the age of 26 with a diminished question mark defensive line? I am a little worried about the back end of the defense being so young. Thanks for the pod, go Birds.
Well, the rest, I mean, Blankenship is 26. It's
Sure.
not, so he's not under 26, but it's a concern. I mean, there's going to be
And
a
I
lot.
should point out this came in before any of the practices,
Sure.
before we talked about Adoree and all
Yeah.
that.
Um, I think it's fair to be concerned when you're really overturning half the secondary, but um, they have talent. Like, they have talent back there. I think big part of it's going to be whoever they settle on, how they play together is going to be a big part of it. Um, I mean, Dave and I both kind of agreed today that Dory was ahead of Keeley. If they didn't bring a Dory in, you have Keeley. If you hand him the job and he's struggling, they're in a better position than if it was just Keeley's job to keep and he was struggling. So I don't even
As
think he's struggling. I think Dory's just been better.
Yeah. As far as rooting for the veteran, I mean, I
I get
think
it.
it makes more I get it, but I think it makes more sense to root for the younger player.
Yeah, but I get it. Like, I guess there's a comfort level with a guy who started a bunch, 80 games in
Sure,
the
but
NFL.
I would put it this way. If they're close on September 4th, where's the upside in December, right? Like it's with the younger player. They're going to
Right.
presumably get better. Whereas maybe the veteran will, but I think it's less likely.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. And if they're close, then, you have nothing to worry about. But I mean, changing the secondary, I think I'm on the record as saying that's my biggest concern on the team. But gosh, I mean, there's so much talent in this defense anyway that it's gonna be a really good defense. And it just the secondary might just not be quite as good as last year. I mean, Slay was really good last year. They probably won't the second cornerback probably won't be as good, but and CJ was really good. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's changes and they're not ideal.
Or maybe they are. We'll see.
We'll see,
Yeah.
but you're losing two good players,
Mhm.
really good playmakers. So, but maybe they can replace them.
Next one from Ryan. I just watched the ring reveal over the last weekend. These are old. Are players that have been released or traded invited to the event that were on the championship team?
Yeah,
Yeah. Everyone who won that ring is able to go and get it. And even CJ Gardner Johnson, with, some of the messy stuff that happened after he left, he came back and celebrated with the team too.
Kenny Gainwell was there. Saw him.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of the guys were able to make it. I mean, look, if you won that ring, I think you really try to get there and get it. It made it probably tougher this time because it was so close to the start of camps,
Yeah,
especially for the guys who don't play here anymore. But yeah, I think it's the last time that team gets to be together.
yeah, and that's what the players we talked to about it. That's the thing they emphasize. It's the last time the 2024 Eagles will be together. So enjoy it.
And this one is, what are the rules and regulations regarding injured or pup players when it comes to attending team events? I always wondered where Brandon Graham was during the playoff games before the Super Bowl. Was he able to hang out in the locker room beforehand? Is there a place those players go during games, or are they at home?
Well, it depends on the injury. Like you can be on the sideline, but if it's like a lower body, like a knee or an ankle, they don't want you anywhere near
Mhm.
line of fire. You get hurt. Like if the play comes over, if you can get away from the play, if it's a shoulder or something like that, um, yeah, you can be out there. You can be in the locker room. Yeah, there's no rules beyond that.
Yeah, you can be around the team.
Yeah,
You're often like you can be in meeting rooms.
you can be on the field, just not in practice. We've seen guys, Sydney last year taking
Mhm.
reps, N'Kobe this year taking reps behind the play.
Yeah,
You just can't participate.
yeah. And some guys, like when their rehab schedule is like it kind of clashes with the practice schedule, then they're not able to be there. Some of those guys do feel really left out,
Yeah.
and it's why Nick used to early in his career. He doesn't do it anymore, but he used to put the numbers. Remember that on his visor? He
Yeah.
doesn't even wear visors anymore. He's a hat guy these days, but he used to put the numbers of the guys who are injured and out for the season so that like they would know that they're still a part of it.
Yeah.
I ask him why he doesn't do that anymore. Frederick, I always catch the pod, and like many have mentioned, the banter is great. My question is this: with a potential great and Campbell joining an already great Bond and Dean, can you foresee all three of these guys on the field at the same time?
I think it's possible. I don't think we'll see a ton of it. I'm not sure what it would look like and who comes off the field, but knowing Vic, wouldn't shock me if we see some of that.
Yeah, I think the obvious potential here is to use Campbell as a rusher. Now we'll see how good he looks if he's a starting inside linebacker from week one and he looks great. Like it's going to be really tough to take him off the field. So
And Vaughn can rush too. I mean, he could be that guy too.
sure. So like maybe there's a situation you bring Nakobe on the field, you walk one of those guys up.
Yeah.
Last one here from our buddy Sager. Hey guys,
Sager.
I hope you guys had a great summer off. Excited football is back. I know Rube needs something to replace Darius Slay's.
Said it
Okay,
under my breath.
correction. The Darius Slay
Slay.
correction. I think the new one should be where Dave says Andrew Makuba and Rube says Drew. Thank you for all you guys do and being the best Eagles podcast.
Take that under advisement.
What do you think? You like that one or no?
I think it's got to happen organically. You can't just plan it.
Yeah. And I think I'm probably going to lean toward calling him Drew more often because that's what he wants to
That's what he goes by.
And it's like different with like Slay wants to be Madonna and have one name. That's a little different than a guy just like I'd like to go by Drew instead of Andrew.
Slay wants to be Madonna in a lot of ways, I think, personality wise.
I'll leave that one there.
What's your favorite Madonna song?
I only know like 3.
Really?
I mean, I'm sure I would know them if I heard them,
Sure.
but I like yeah, I don't know if I could answer that.
Okay.
I don't
Right.
Do you have a favorite?
I'm going Borderline. I think it's a great song.
Okay, I don't know if I know that one.
I'm not gonna.
You saw what I tried to do there.
I know. I got it. It's not going to happen.
All right. If you have a question for us, eagle@nbcuni.com. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button and subscribe there as well. I want to give one last plug. My Surviving Camp series part 1 is out with Miles Hinton. Really enjoyed talking to him. I think you guys will like him quite a bit. How about you, Reuben? Any final words?
Yeah. You know who is at practice today? Mark Edis, and he's the Savannah Bananas announcer. And he's a Philly guy, South Jersey guy. He's from Vineland, your old stomping grounds. You worked for Vineland, didn't you?
I did briefly.
Vineland Times Journal.
Daily Journal.
Used to be the Times Journal, yeah.
Okay. Now when I was
back in the day. But he's a big fan of the podcast and big Eagles fan. He travels with the Savannah Bananas. He's like he was up in the press box for the 2 Philly games, presentations, shows. I don't know what you call them.
The games. It was funny last week. We were in here and I was like worried about. I was like watching the Phillies game on the screen because I thought they were in town.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're in the 7th inning, but they're in New York. And I was like, what do you mean they're in New York? There's people tailgating out there.
That's what it was.
And it was Savannah Bananas.
And it was like 2:00.
It would look like a Phillies tailgate.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's a lot of fun. I have some friends who went over there on I guess it got rained out or it got canceled in the 8th inning on whatever day I don't know. Yesterday.
All the days start to
It
run
was yesterday,
together.
Sunday.
Yeah.
It started raining. But yeah, interesting guy, longtime radio guy, Mark Edis, and he's Savannah Bananas.
All right. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. The pads go on tomorrow. We'll talk about it after.